October. Finally made it that far. Does anyone here have a birthday in October, just out of curiosity? Hey, we do have an October birthday. Is it at the beginning or the end of the month? The end of the month. Okay, so you're closer to Halloween then. Okay. Sounds good. All right. I have nothing to return to you because I didn't collect anything, I believe, last class. So, and I also noted that I'm not going to collect anything today either, and that's because you should have had the answers to all the melodic dictations that I assigned in your book for today. Okay? Again, if you ever need any clarification, or if you didn't get to see the answers for some reason, or it didn't work right, please let me know, because I can always show you the answers so you can check your work, especially on these where the answers are provided. I'm happy to do that. All right, so to get going today, then I think what we'll do is warm up our voices with an F major scale, and then we're going to sing Melody 242, which is on page 21. I'll use that one to loosen our vocal cords because it's a longer one, and that's probably the best to warm up the voice. So on page 21, we'll get to Melody 242. And as I said, that this is in F major, and we'll sing an F major scale and all that before. Let's start with an F major scale. I'm going to sing down in the pit because it's early in the morning. Okay. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And then let's arpeggiate the tonic chord. Do, mi, sol, do, sol, mi, do. All right, I almost feel like we should move to a smaller room. This is such a big room for just half a dozen people. But, well, since they put us here and we have the room, I guess we'll stay here at least for this semester. All right. Okay, so we have do, and what is the opening syllable or the opening pitch of Melody 242?
Sol.
That's right, it's sol. You got it. So we need to find that pitch. And again, let's see, how low does this go? I think I can sing it down in a bit of help. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. You can find it always that way by going up the scale. So if you want to sing sol there or sol, and I can't do the higher one, but if you can, feel free to start on that sol. Notice this is an even numbered example, so I'm going to be doing some hand signs. That's what we should all be doing. And finally, notice the meter. 2-2 is the meter. What note duration should we tap? The quarter note, that's right, good, because the quarter note is the division, the half note is the beat. Okay, so find your sol, either here, sol, or sol, or sol. We're going to start on beat 2. Let me give you a full measure plus one beat. How about this tempo? 1, 2, 1. Sol, sol, fa, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, because we had a pickup, so that goes pretty quick. All right, I'm confident, I'm confident that these melodies I'm going to quiz on here in a minute, they're really not too bad, so hopefully you'll be able to manage and tackle them with no trouble at all. Now, let's see, of the people that need to sing and of the people that are here, let's see if I even need to draw any names. So Libby, Kelsey, Becca, and Tyler. So it looks like of the people that are here, I can draw, I'm looking for either Megan or Sammy, or I'm looking for Lauren. Okay. By the way, the two melodies I'd like to hear this morning are 240 and 241. They are just some one-line tunes there, some one-line exercises. I'll ask, as I usually do, would any of you three that I mentioned like to volunteer for one of these before joining? Okay, which one would you like?
240.
240? Okay, you can definitely have that one. Would anyone like to volunteer for 241? Okay, thank you, Megan. So Megan's going to do 241 and Lauren is going to do 240. So we'll start right there with 240. And Lauren, can you tell me the key, the major key of your
E flat.
That's right, it's an E flat major. And can you tell me what syllable it starts on?
Sol.
Sol, that's very good. Well, it doesn't have the range of a complete octave, but this is a do, this is an E flat here. Are you able to sing the whole octave up to the high?
Probably not.
Probably not? Okay. Well, since you don't have a full octave, can you sing it from here up to Sol and then back down, just that portion of the scale first?
Yeah.
With hand signs? Okay, there's your do.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Okay. Now go back to that high Sol. Do you remember where it was? Yep, that's your first note. And you'll be hand signing and you'll be tapping the quarter note.
Sol, 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 fa, mi, re, mi, fa, fa.
Okay, where's the pitch? If you just did mi, fa has to be a little higher. There it is. Okay, so you did have the right pitches for a little while there. I think you're getting mixed up on the syllables. Do you know where do is still?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's get you a do here. Okay. I'm wondering if we can start you at the beginning again, because that might be a little easier. Can you find your higher Sol? Okay. You did the first half really well.
Sol, 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 fa, mi, re, mi, fa, sol, 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 la, la.
Okay, so in measure 3, do you see that A flat, that's a fa? Okay. Can you go back to do? Okay, I guess we're gonna have to start there. Let me give you the do and then see if we can find the fa. Yeah, can you start right there? Alright, so there we just got a little bit off the pitch at the end. If this is do, we need. Right? Okay. So, I'm just trying to get an evaluation here. It sounds like sometimes you got the pitch, sometimes you got the syllables, but it's not very consistent. So we just got to work on practicing and getting to know those syllables a little better, and then practicing the scale degrees a little more closely, so that you can get through a whole line of an example like that, okay? All right, and please let me know, or please let Micah know if you would like any extra help on this. We'll be happy to provide it to you. All right, thank you. Let's go to the next one. And Megan was going to do, what did I say, 241? Okay. Can you tell me what key you are in?
G major.
That's right, G. Are you in alto? Can you start your scale down here? Oh. All right, let me hear and see your scale. Now, what syllable do you start on?
So.
Can you find the syllable? Very nice. And yours is conducting. Okay. So you want to start on beat 4? Okay, wait till you get to beat 4. 1, 2, 3. Then you go. You see how that works? Okay, so you got off a little bit on the syllable. And also be careful with your conducting. Make sure when you go, after you go down, go to this side first. So you get all 4 beats. Okay? So you start right there again.
Sorry.
Yeah, make sure you go like this. Make sure you tap twice for every. Okay, now we just got to get the pitch to go. You got it. I mean, you can hear the pitch, no problem. Here's your do. So here's your sol. Call it fall.
Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we got the syllables and the pitches there. It just felt like the conducting didn't match up. Got to get used to, rather than going, just kind of little scattered like this. Be careful that try to just get in some kind of an order here where very controlled. And let that be your driving force for your rhythm and the pace that you're going to do. If you can't get all the syllables in that tempo, slow it down. And if you still can't get all the syllables in that tempo, that's fine. But let's see if we can just try to keep the rhythm going. All right? Practice on putting that together. All right, thank you. Okay, no more quizzing out of the sightseeing book today. Let's move on to take a look at one melody, again as usual, that's assigned for next class. The next batch of melodies to me is actually a little more interesting than the ones that we just had. I'd like specifically to look at melody 246. 246. And let's see here. What key is melody 246 in? B flat major, that's right. We can look at the key signature, look at the last note, and that's going to confirm our initial assumptions or suspicions. So, B flat major, but what syllable do we begin on? T, that's right, we begin on T. Just a half step shy, a half step lower than Do. Let's see, did I have any special, I don't think I had any special concerns for this one, no. Okay, let's get B flat major in our mind. Okay, everybody's going to sing a scale, and then we'll arpeggiate the tonic chord. Okay, here we go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And let's arpeggiate. Do, mi, sol, do, sol, mi, do. Now, we just sang Do. Where's T? Yeah, half step lower. It looks like this is hand signs. Look at the time signature. What duration will we be tapping? The 16th note, very good. Okay? Because the 8th note is the beat this time. Okay, so Do, Ti, Ti. Let's see if we can read through this one as accurately as possible. If it's not possible for you to put everything together, hand signs, tapping, and so on and so forth, leave one of those out while we sight read it. Okay. How about I'll give us 2 beats? How about a tempo of 1, 2. Ti, do, re, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, do, ti, la, ti, do. All right, good. So again, especially when you know what the tapping means and how that works rhythmically, everything comes out precisely as it should. So for instance, we said we're tapping the 16th note. How many taps does a quarter note get then? 4, right? An 8th note would get 2, a quarter note would get 4. How many taps does one of these dotted quarters that fills a whole measure? How many taps does that get? 6. 6, that's right. And yeah, then you can figure out a dotted 8th we have in the third to last bar. The dotted 8th would be 3 taps, right? Okay, yeah. All right, let's try it again. Let me check the pitch. I think we're pretty good. Yep. So we're still on Do. No, nothing for the half step more. That's where we're going to start. Okay, one more time through. 2 beats again. 1, 2. Ti, do, re, mi, re, mi, know some of you in here, you're doing just fine with this melody stuff. You're doing fine with the hand signs, the coordination of the tapping. If you are not, though, I really, really would encourage you and recommend and implore you to get some extra help, either with me or with Micah, because we're about halfway through the semester now, and you've got to have at least a certain modicum or a certain level of proficiency to be able to get through these melodies in order to pass this class so that you can go on to the next semester. Okay? So I really do encourage you. It's up to you to initiate that, but again, like I say, Micah and myself, we're happy to help when we have the time, and we can always find a time for you. So, we're about halfway through the class. That's close enough for me. Let's move on from this book now. Let's go to the ear training book. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, I believe it's 1 week from today your rhythmic videos are due. Remember those? They're on Canvas. It should be called Quiz 2, Rhythm Unit 2 Quiz, something like that. And all that information is in there. If you just click on that, it'll tell you which rhythm you're assigned. And you can just videotape yourself and send that to me by next week, a week from today, which is October 8th, I believe. Just want you to all be clear. I know you've got many other classes to deal with. Try your best to stay organized. Keep up with your schedule. All right, now, today for ear training, we are going to talk about 2 items. I'm going to introduce, at least sound-wise, orally, we're going to talk about the perfect fifth interval. And then after that, I'd like to talk about distinguishing between major and minor triads in the sound. Again, not necessarily looking on the board, but in this class we take what we learn in theory that's mostly written and visual, and we try to interpret it and understand it with our ears. Okay? That's the idea. So we get at these concepts from all different angles, from using a lot of our senses. Okay, now, I think all of you have me for theory. So if I asked you, you should know this. The perfect fifth interval, is that classified as a consonance or a dissonance? A consonance. Okay. Yeah, relatively pleasing to the ear. Okay, a consonance. And, well, I wish this piano was doing that. So any perfect fifth will do. For instance, here's one. One thing I want you to listen for and note about the sound of the perfect fifth is that it has an open sound. It has a hollow sound, you could say. You could even say it's got a vacuous sound. There's no third in the middle. We just started learning triads in theory, right? There's no third in the middle to make it major or minor or what have you. It's just the outer notes, they're bare. It's got a very open sound. Now, the perfect fourth, which we talked about in this class several classes ago, that also has a relatively open sound. So how are we going to be able to distinguish between when I play or when you hear a perfect fourth versus a perfect fifth? Well, there are ways to do this. One of the ways that I like to use is as follows. We talked about what is a very, at least to me, what is a helpful tune to remember the sound of an ascending perfect fourth? Remember what we talked about several classes ago? Here Comes the Bride, right? So if we hear an open sound, kind of a bare sound between the 2 notes of the interval on the piano, one thing we can try to do is we can check. If it matches Here Comes the Bride, that's a P4, a perfect fourth. What kind of tune can we use maybe to recognize or help us understand the sound of a perfect fifth, which is just a little bit wider? Well, I don't know if I don't have my melody sheet. You have that sheet. But one that I like to use for the ascending perfect fifth is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. If you can get between the 2 notes, you hear an open sound, and if you can get perfect fifth, do, so, however you want to think of that. help you distinguish and differentiate between the perfect fourth and the perfect fifth. So for instance, this one, I hope you'd be able to hear twinkle, twinkle. So that has to be a perfect fifth, right? This, that would be the smaller perfect fourth. Here comes the bride. You see how it can fit, match? Those are a couple things I want you to remember in listening for and distinguish between the perfect fifth and the perfect fourth. Yeah, go ahead.
The second part of Here Comes the Bride be like right after.
Okay, say that one more time.
Like the second, the nice little part of Here Comes the Bride.
You talking about that interval there? What do you think? I think it is, yeah. Yep, you're right, it is. It's a perfect fifth right after that. If that works for you, yeah, please use it, whatever works for you. Okay, now, generally speaking, I like to think of the perfect fifth as found in the major and the minor scale between do and sol. So if we have a do of do, think of do, mi, sol, do, sol. That would be the interval of the open perfect fifth. Well, let's take a draw that will work for that. All right. Can we sing from do up to sol and then back down? Just to get a little practice with the perfect fifth. Ready? Do, sol. Sing sol again. Sol, do. Now let's try the perfect fourth. For instance, we'll sing do up to fa. Do, fa. Now sing do sol. Do, sol, do. Yeah, I tend to like to hear the perfect fifth between do and sol. And then if you actually, what happens when you invert a perfect fifth? What interval do you get? A perfect fourth. So let me use my marker here. Maybe I can illustrate what I mean. So for instance, if I'm in the key of C, right, this distance here, do to sol, is a perfect fifth. But the remaining distance from sol up to do, that is a perfect fourth, right? Do, sol, perfect fifth, but sol, do, perfect fourth. They're just inversions of each other. As I mentioned, an ascending perfect fifth begins the familiar tune, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, if that helps you. How about a descending perfect fifth? Sol, do. I can think of one tune that I got off of the sheet that I gave you. Have you heard the tune for Flintstones? Meet the Flintstones. Have you ever heard that tune? Yeah. It begins with a descending perfect fifth. Flintstones. And then it goes up an octave. But all we need to know is the sol, do, Flintstone. Now, we've got a slew of intervals that we're starting to put under our belt now in our database of sounds. So far, we've got the minor second, we've got the major second, minor third, major third, we've got the perfect fourth, we've got the tritone, and now we're adding the perfect fifth. By the time we end this semester, I'd like to have all of the intervals, all the sixths, all the sevenths, and then the perfect octave under our belt. Now, if I play a perfect fifth, let's say, what is one way that I can rule out the fact that it wouldn't be a second and it wouldn't be a tritone? Think about consonant versus dissonant sounds. Can we narrow our answer, our choices? If we're not sure what the interval is, can we narrow the field down by saying, oh, this sounds like it's a consonant interval? If it is a consonant interval, we know it can't be a second and it can't be a tritone because those are dissonant. If it sounds like an open hollow sound, it's probably going to be either this one or it's going to be this one. And we just talked about some ways or strategies to differentiate the two in your mind. Okay. Now, what happens if you hear a consonant interval and you're not sure whether it could be a third, whether it's a fifth? What are some things you could do to distinguish between a perfect fifth and a third? So for instance, how would you know, for instance, that this is a third and this is a fifth? Is there anything that sticks out to you that you could think of to latch onto that says, oh, I know the difference because I hear this? Well, let's contrast this sound, the open hollow sound, with the sound that has, in this one, this is a happy or a bright sound. Okay? So what kind of third do you think it is if it's happy sounding? Say major. Major third, okay? Okay, this has some quality. This has some definition to it. This, not really. Okay. What happens though if I play this? I hope you can hear some definition or quality to that versus the open blank. I mean, they're both consonant, but this is really hollow, and this isn't. And to me, this one sounds more sad or melancholy, which means it's got to be what kind of third? A minor third, that's right. Okay. So, I don't really need to be throwing all these different intervals at you at once, but when we get to the cumulative sections in our interval assignments, I want you to have some ways or methods to be able to say, oh, I hear this interval and I can definitely rule out this batch. It's definitely not this because the interval I'm listening to, for instance, is dissonant. If it's dissonant, you can rule out the thirds and the fifths, certainly. It's got to be seconds or tritones, probably. If it's consonant, then you can rule out the seconds and the tritone, and it's probably going to be a fifth or third. And if it's open or hollow sounding, it's probably going to be the fourth or the fifth. I guess that's what I'm saying. Okay. But as long as you have something to listen for, something that you use to know, that helps you separate one interval from the next. I guess that's what I'm trying to get you to develop in your mind and in your ear. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, we talked about that. Can we practice a few? Can we practice in your books, ear training books? Can you turn to page 8, please? I think my book is over here. Page 8. What does the heading or the title on the top of page 8 say? What are we focusing on here?
Perfect and diminished fifths.
Okay, perfect and diminished fifths. So, what that means is between numbers 1 through 15, the only choices now are perfect fifth or tritone. They combine the tritone again with the perfect fifth. But in the cumulative section, numbers 16 through 25, any of those intervals that I have listed up on the board are fair game. Make sense? Okay, so let's try on page 8. Can we just do, for right now, numbers 11 through 15? Let's focus on the open perfect hollow sound of the fifth versus the dissonant tritone. Hopefully that'll be not too difficult. Okay? So number 11, in the blank, I want you to put down what you think this sound is, either a perfect fifth or a tritone. Use your gut reaction. That's generally correct. Number 12, perfect fifth or tritone. 14. Not to give it away, but I hope you hear the Flintstones in that one. Number 15 sounds like this. Okay, can we skip down to the cumulative section? And again, I don't have time to do all of them. Can we start somewhere in the middle? How about number 18? Somewhere in the middle of the cumulative section, number 18. Let's, and this is what number 18 sounds like. Choose from one of the intervals on the board, because it could be any one of them. Number 19. Number 20. Number 21. We'll do just two more, okay? 22 is the next one. And the last one we'll do for today of intervals is 23. Sounds like this. Still remember that after I had my bachelor's degree and I was going to get my master's degree, one of the test entrance exams that they had for you in the music area was identifying intervals, just by ear. So it's a good thing I had some of that. All right, let's quickly go through the answers. Let's go back to 11 through 15. 11 was a perfect fifth. 12 was a tritone, or diminished fifth, whatever you want to put. 13 was perfect fifth, 14 was perfect fifth, and 15 was tritone, or diminished fifth. Now, I hope you did pretty well with that. The cumulative ones, I think, are harder since we have a lot of intervals to choose from. I think I started with 18. Number 18, major third. Hope you got that. Number 19 was a perfect fifth. Number 20 was a minor second. Half step, a minor second. Number 21 was a minor third. 22, perfect fifth again. And what was 23? Perfect fourth, that's right, perfect fourth. Okay. So if you're like, how many did we do, like about 10 or so? If you're missing like 4 or 5 or 6 out of 10 intervals, that's not the greatest. We need to practice more, hone our skills. If you are missing like 1, 2, or 3 out of 10, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, just to give you a gauge yourself. I also, because we've got about 6 minutes, I also want to do just a little bit with some triad recognition. It's not that difficult because right now I want to just have you hear the difference between a major and a minor triad. Really, that's all. Okay? Both triads are considered to be consonant sonorities, just like I said in theory the other day. But of course, the major triad will sound more cheery than the minor triad will. Okay. I'd like to vocally arpeggiate the two triad types here, the major and the minor, and then I'll go ahead and play a few of them for you to distinguish by ear. So we know in this class the major triad is Do, Mi, and Sol, and then the minor triad would be Do, Me, and Sol. And yesterday in theory we talked about all the different intervals between all those members of the chord. Let's just pick a Do quickly. Okay. So let's all sing inside the major one up and down first. Ready? Do, mi, sol, mi, do. Now let's juxtapose it next to this one. Do, me, sol, me, do. Can you quickly go to page 18 in your book? Page 18. Let me just play a few. This one is major. This one would be minor, of course. Just so you can hear the difference. Let's see, did I get you the right page number? You have numbers 1 through 10, found on page 18. And I think on that page it should say at the top, major or minor triads. Just those two. I'm not doing the diminished or the augmented yet. We've got time. We might not be able to do all of them, but let's do a handful of these. The way I do the triads, I'll play them twice. I can only play them as block chords. I cannot play the pitches independently or separately. Okay? So for instance, number 1 on page 18 sounds like this. And I want you just to put major or minor in the blank. You don't have to fill in, although you could for extra practice, spell the triad above the unit. I think it gives you the root. But you're not required to do that here. So all I can do is play it twice like this. There it is again. Okay, let's move on. Number 2, major or minor? Number 3. Number 4. And number 5 will be the last one. Here's number 5. to hear the difference between these two types of triads, but just because I feel or sense one thing doesn't mean that you do. So let's quickly go through these. Number 1, major. 2, minor. 3, major. 4, major. And 5, minor. Your ear training homework for next class involves some fifths, some perfect fifths, and it also involves a little bit of triad recognition, so I wanted to make sure we get through some of that before next class. All right, so we're out of time. Thank you. Hopefully this was helpful for you to get your next homework assignment done. And we'll see most of you for theory probably tomorrow. Yes, I think that's okay.
Because I was sick at 11 that night, so I emailed everybody to make sure, because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, and in the future too, you can always take a picture of this and you can send it to me on email.
Okay, yeah, I had it done, but I didn't know if you wanted it in person or like a
Yeah,
picture.
okay, this is fine, thanks.
All right.